up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you two separate transformations of the big toe. This is going to be our first client. Now, I was struggling with having enough storage to really make a full video, so this is why we're doing both in one video. Now, just a disclaimer, I want to mention that none of these techniques or nothing I'm saying is going to apply for a toe BBL that involves, a fungal transformation. Nobody that has a current infection, none of that, and I'm going to explain a little bit more why. So if that's what you're looking for, you might want to scroll past, or maybe you'll want to stay so you can learn a thing or two. Now, first thing is first, with this particular client, we're doing a reconstruction of the big toe. We're doing acrylic, of course, and the first step is to go ahead and remove the shine from the nail. Now, with removing the shine, we need to take it a step further, because oftentimes with people that need reconstructive services, they have a lot of tough skin, they have a lot of nooks and crannies. So you guys are seeing me take a lot of extra time getting in these nooks and crannies because all that white extra skin, we need to remove as much as possible. Now, remember how I said this is not for toe BBLs, fungal reconstructions, none of that? Look at all the dust that's around. I know a lot of people say, why don't you use gloves? It's because this person is a non-infected person. They do not have any fungal infection, any sort of disease that can be passed by simply touching this client. So therefore, I am safe. However, if this client had any suspected fungal infection, every single piece of dust you see in this video, just keep that in your head. That would be fungus flying around. Okay, so once I get in those nooks and crannies, I prep, I remove the shine, I'm going to go ahead and prime. Now, this particular client, it's a little bit more straightforward. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The footage that I have is pretty much about to be over, but when you're doing something that's straightforward, you just want to make sure that your bead is going to cover the entire nail, and that if they have a lip like she does, like where her toenail skin kind of wants to be a little bit more bulbous on the tip, you just have to make sure that you are not getting too much acrylic stuck underneath that lip. It's really important that you use a technique where the acrylic is not too wet and just dry enough that you can mold and control the narrative. I typically is going to go underneath that lip. I'm going to stick my brush underneath and just make sure that there is some space, because the last thing you want to do is leave an enhancement that is completely like glued down to the entirety of the skin with absolutely no space. I know people think, well, if there's space, moisture can get under. Yes, but also that means moisture can dry out properly. You get what I'm saying? So this is pretty much the base that I put down, and then I'm going to fill up the cuticle area and build as I need. I'm going to put a clip on the screen of the finalized application right over here, which you can see it's nice and sturdy, and here is the final result. Now, the next client I'm getting ready to show you is a client who's been with me for years. Okay, this is a much more complicated reconstructed because of the manner that her toenail is grown. Okay, so not only is it in an odd shape, it is also completely lifted from the nail bed at least about 70% of the way. Now, this particular client has been coming to me for a couple of years, and I'm not gonna lie, her toenail, when it was first injured back in high school, so I don't know, maybe about 8 years ago at least, she has not grown any more toenail than maybe the part where you saw underneath where it was connected. And for years with me, that did not happen until one day, probably in the last 6 months, I started to notice what I thought was growth. I thought I was tripping, but you guys, I was not. So here we are. So you guys can see me getting in all these nooks and crannies. Now with her, she has a lot of areas that are unstable just because her toenail grows off. So I need to make sure that I'm not cutting away any toenails. Okay, you hear me? This is not the type of situation where you want to completely cut somebody's toenail away to make it easier. Now I'm going back underneath the cuticle pusher because she gets pedicures. So as I'm doing certain things and her toenail is drying out, you need to make sure you go underneath and get any other gunk. Sometimes when I spray the toe with alcohol solution to clean it, it just builds up with the the dust, and it makes that gunk. So we need to get that out of there. Now in this particular situation, when you have a complex toenail, you're going to want to think, what is the best way to build this with the least amount of consequences? Okay, by that I mean we have the length. The length now is not the issue, it's the width. So what I need to do is take my first bead, and we're going to work somewhat wet but not too wet, somewhere dry, right? So I can control where it's going. I need to work on the width, but I need to be careful because the toenail is lifted. That means a lot of acrylic can get stuck under. So this is why you need to know how wet to make it, so you can move it into these weird spaces, but it will dry down enough that you'll be able to go underneath, remove some of the acrylic, and manipulate it around as I'm doing here. So again, we are worried about the width, which means that you have to understand how to use your brush, and you have to understand the anatomy of a toenail. So if you are a person who is not versed in this sort of thing, if you don't even have basic experience with the anatomy of feet or anything like this. I do not think this is the type of thing that an unlicensed brand new nail tech, or even someone that just thinks like, oh, I'll just start. No ma'am. Like, no ma'am. Just back, get your education. Although this is not taught in school, I definitely had to use a lot of my own knowledge of what would I do on a hand, how can this come to be, what am I supposed to and not supposed to work over, you know, those sort of things. And of course your knowledge builds and your skill builds with time. So in this particular situation, you guys see that I am manipulating the acrylic until it is fully dry. I'm going underneath to just make sure that nothing is stuck under there. Now, I know it looks like I am absolutely not doing anything at all, because it's like, child, this still looks thin, but you guys can see in the areas that I'm working in, especially on the opposite side, you can see that it is a little bit wider. Now, what you guys just saw me do was use the end of my brush to kind of like push the acrylic to the outside. You can do this easily with a cuticle pusher. You guys, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not going to cause any more harm or any more, you know, oh, that's so gross. It's not any weirder than using the front of your brush, if you get what I'm saying. You know, everything gets put in the solution. I mean, you can easily just clean the handle of your brush if it comes down to it, especially because you don't want acrylic on it. But again, I use it to like touch the acrylic, so we're all good. But you want to just make sure that this is a comfortable process for your client, because if you get acrylic stuck in too many places, what is going to happen is it's not going to be comfortable. Okay. And again, we don't want to cause a situation that we are going to lock moisture underneath the toenail to a point where the client cannot clean under there. There's no airflow. That is a no. I see that a lot of times on acrylic enhancements. I also see people swearing that acrylic enhancements cures toenail fungus. I want you guys to know that toenail fungus comes from like, toenail fungus is hard to kick because it continuously grows. So even if what you see is no more, you know, fungus, it looks completely fine, that does not mean that where the nail grows from is no longer infected. That does not mean the toe itself is clear and fine. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So on this particular bead, I use it to be just like a little bit drier than the last one, just a little bit, so that way I can go in and I can do the rest of the toenail. So you guys saw how I had the base down with the initial bead to like widen it a little bit, and then I went in and then I did the tip, and now I need to focus on the cuticle area. And because she has quite a bit of toenail, I don't actually need a lot of acrylic on top of the actual nail. I'm focusing on just making sure I can have a nice and smooth surface when I go ahead and file, because again, the more acrylic is not the better. Okay, you can get injured that way. So this is pretty much as good as we're going to get it. Again, underneath, you see there is some space for airflow. When I take this off, it's not going to be completely suctioned down. You guys see that underneath there, a cuticle pusher can fit under there. And this is the final shape. I'm going to show you guys the final product overall. I hope this video was helpful just to kind of see two different processes, but still the same technique and the same skill. This is the final result. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I found some footage from 2023 that's getting ready to be used. I don't know if I used it, but we're gonna act like I didn't. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great mother freaking day. I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, show me some love, leave me a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.